All right, guys, for our next card, we're going to make this beautiful congratulations. Remember what I was saying about wedding? This would be a beautiful wedding card for the holiday season, but of course you could send this card to somebody any time of the year. We're going to start with some very vanilla. And I've got, well, I should say we're going to start with a gray granite card base. And then our color combination is kind of pretty, a little different. It is powder pink, Mary Merlot, mint macaron, and gray granite. So I'm going to start by kind of creating my background. And this is how this card sort of developed. I was trying to create a pretty, I was trying to figure out how to use this branchy image differently in our card. So this is kind of what I started out doing. So I'm going to ink this up and stamp it kind of just like that. And then stamp it again without re-inking. It's kind of light. Do it again up here and stamp once more. Then I wanted to fill this out a little bit more. So I got my gray granite ink out. And we're actually done with this. I'm going to close it up. Then I've got my little branchy image, which, you know, I like this one, my branchy branches. Okay, I'm going to stamp that a few times. So I've got some here, a little along the edge there, down here, and a little out here. And then I'm actually going to add just a touch more. I'm stamping this off and filling that in just a little further there and even a little bit up there. Okay. Now, I'm also going to take a scrap piece of paper. This is very vanilla, and I'm going to stamp my images in Mary Merlot, my flower images, in Mary Merlot and powder pink. So I'll do the smaller one in powder pink right here, and we'll add a second one just in case. Sometimes you need an extra. I like having options. All right. And there's 2 dies to cut out the small flower, so that works out. Then I'm going to take Mary Merlot and stamp this too. I love how the image does the work for me. It does the shading all on its own. I don't have to do that. And there we go. Is our second. There is our second one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, die cut these out, and then we'll assemble our card. Okay, just like our last card, we're going to do a little spritzing, and I like to do this before I add my flowers because sometimes you get big blobs and you don't like that. So there's a little spritzing. And while we're at it, we'll also add our sentiment, which is congratulations. Again, so pretty. Stamp that right up there. All right, now to build up our little bouquet, I've got my die cut pieces. So I'm going to pop I'm going to pop up the big flowers, and then we'll kind of tuck the little ones in there. Now, I die cut an extra one just in case. As any woman, I like to keep my options open in case I want some of these. Now, I don't actually want to die cut or pop that one up, so I'll stick that back on my sheet. Okay, I'm going to start by adding my 2 flowers, kind of right here and right here, my 2 larger flowers. And then I want to fill that space in. I'm changing my mind. I want to fill that space in with my little branch pieces. Okay, so I'm actually going to rip off that piece and then tuck this one in, and sometimes I need to get rid of some of that stem. And the easiest way to do that is with a glue dot and then just kind of shove it in there. Doesn't that sound horrible? Okay, so we'll just kind of tuck that in. And you can see I chose very vanilla so it wouldn't get too busy because we've already got plenty of stuff going on. Now I can take this and use this in that little bit a little later if I want. I also know I want to rip these apart just like we did again in the last one. So we'll get rid of that excess stem and we'll tuck this in as well. So I'm kind of putting them in between the layers here a little bit there. And then I'll put this one over here, kind of, again, tucked in. I'm going to hide that little center nodule And then I want some hanging off of here. So I'll put a glue dot in the center of this, and then kind of pick up my vellum about there. And then we're going to just tuck that in. Now I want it to kind of stick out from my other flowers. So I just added a glue dot, and then they're just kind of sticking out a little bit like that. Okay, now I still have another piece of vellum that I can use if I want, and I still have another flower, and I think I might add that flower. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, what if we did this down here? Nope, I don't like it. I kind of like the balance of this. Maybe all we need is to just tuck that one right there. Yep, that's all that it is. And so sometimes playing with these before you adhere them is really important and helpful to getting a nice balanced composition. Doesn't that sound fancy? That's fancy for it looks good. Okay, but remember this little piece? I can certainly add that in. So I'll take a glue dot and then, oops, there's not much to this. Then I'm going to just tuck this in right there like that. And that's just one last little bit. Isn't that beautiful? So there's a lot going on here, but it's not too much, I don't think. Okay. We're gonna just adhere these layers together, and then our card is complete. It's so pretty. Oh, so pretty. So I think anybody would be impressed to receive this card from you. Of course, I think that about all of the cards that I make, but some of them are just really amazing, aren't they? Now there's one final thing we can do to this card, and that is add some Wink of Stella. Now rather than kind of coloring on my image, I'm gonna just do my spritzing where I smack my Wink of Stella against something, in this case a marker. Okay, and then that will just add some shimmer spots on here, which is so pretty. The reason I didn't want to color on here is because that would kind of blend in my flower, and I wanted to keep the detail of my flower in, so that just added some sparkles. So pretty.